Find out why you shouldn't use a board handle while learning to kitesurf. I believe students shouldn't learn how to put a board on their feet using the board handle. Why isn't there a handle on the board? Why should we use a kite board handle? Do we need a board handle? If you look at surfboards, they don't have handles, neither do wakeboards. We still use them, we still carry them, we still put them on our feet. The board handle was not intended for beginners, and it has been mostly misused by schools to teach using the board handle to put the board on their feet. When did the board handle came? So when did we start using a board handle, and why do we use it? Well, it all came down to the first board off tricks. When I started to learn kiteboarding, there was no board handle. There was not even an insert to put a board handle. It came with the first tricks when you see people doing can-can moves, passing the board underneath their feet, and like a basketball player. That was the first time I saw it, and I was really impressed with it. It was amazing to see someone do that kind of trick, and for that you did really need a board handle. At that time, everybody used it, everybody was kiting, and nobody had a board handle. It wasn't even thought of. When people started seeing them on the boards, they started assuming it was for teaching, and then it kind of stuck. But the reality is, it's not needed, and it's actually not helping you. Kite students come in all sizes and shapes, and the teaching process should always remain the same. It should be easy to put the board on your feet, and the procedure shouldn't change. However, most students are not that flexible, and so it's not that easy to put the board on their feet. Yet alone when they're using a life vest and a seated harness, everything makes it hard to be able to reach that board handle to secure it to put the board on your feet. So to use the handle for a student is not that good, it's not that helpful. And I will describe you why I think this is the correct way of doing it. And if you disagree, please let me know in the comments below, or just simply shout out with your new ideas. Maybe it makes more sense than mine. But for me, the board handle is actually unnecessary unless you are doing board off tricks to help you do those tricks. So how should we put the board on our feet without using the board handle? First of all, we should never keep the kite at 12 o'clock. 12 o'clock is a passage point from one side of the wind window to the other side of the wind window. It's not a safe place to keep it, as if the kite loses stability and falls down, it will fall down through the wind window, being in the middle of the power zone. You want to actually keep the kite all the time, or most of the times, between 10 and 11 or 1 and 2, which is the riding position. It's where you keep your kite while riding, it's where you should keep your kite while walking on the beach. It's always where the kite should be, as if it falls down, it will never pass through the power zone, but it will fall on the edge of the wind window without a lot of power. So while keeping the kite steady with one hand, keeping the kite between 10 and 11 or 1 and 2, you should hold the foot strap nearest you and put your elbow on the side of the board to keep it inclined against the direction you're being pulled. This way, the kite is pulling you slowly and your board is getting pushed against you in a steady and controlled movement. After this, while keeping the board secure, you should put first your foot that's furthest away from your hand, basically your opposite foot. Once that foot is in, the board will have 2 connection points to you, and you should be steadily drifting towards inside of the water. At this moment, the hand that is holding on the foot strap puts the other foot in. If you don't manage to put it immediately, you can just put it on the side. As the board is being pushed against you, you have a very steady place to put the feet inside of the board. This way you have a controlled board while starting to kitesurf, which is often a very complicated moment for the student to be able to control a kite, control a board, put their feet on the board and actually start. And that's why you should try to keep the board as steady and this process as easy as possible. Learning to kitesurf is a sequence of steps, and this is one of the ones that I noticed it was harder for people to pass and really gave a lot of frustration, because it's very hard to put your board unless you're really flexible. You can't really reach your handle. Normally I can't, I'm not a flexible person, so I have a very hard time to do that. Once you get better, you don't even need to touch the board. You can just do a jump start or just start by putting your feet on the board. But as a beginner, everything is more complicated. So making it easy, making it simple, making it comfortable is the way to progress, and it's the fastest way for you to progress on the sport. With this method, it doesn't really depend on your physical ability or your flexibility. You are always able to reach the board and put your feet in, even if you're not that flexible, even if you have a seat harness that restricts your movements. Instead, this technique relies on technical skills as kite control and board control, which will basically help you along the line of your progression. That's why I recommend to use this procedure instead of any other that tries to keep the kite at 12 and put the board on your feet. Kite at 12 is not a good place, and also you're going to be drifting downwind and trying to put the board on your feet. Any movement of the kite is going to balance you to the opposite direction, not being able for you to really keep control of the kite and of the board. This way, you actually get everything under control, you get a steady movement, you get a steady pull that allows you to always and in every time remain calm and put the board on your feet and start from there. So if this doesn't make sense to you, please let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear new techniques and maybe improve on this one as well. If you do like these tutorials, make sure to subscribe for more.